हरि ओम। ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री हिरण्यगर्भाय नमः। ओम श्री महाविष्णवे नमः। ओम श्री महादेवाय नमः। ओम श्री महादुर्गायै नमः। ओम श्री राम रामाय नमः। ओम श्री सद्गुरवे नमः। ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांतिः। ओम गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं। भवानी शंकरो वन्दे श्रद्धा विश्वासरूपिणौ याभ्यां विना न पश्यन्ति सिद्धा स्वान्तस्तमीश्वरम्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। रामाय रामभद्राय रामचन्द्राय वेदसे रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीतायाः पतये नमः। बुद्धिर्बलं यशोधैर्यं निर्भयत्वमरोगता अजाड्यं वाक्पटुत्वं च हनुमत्स्मरणात् भवेत्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ओम नमः शिवाय। 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 नमः पार्वती पतये। हर हर महादेव। Hari Om, Hari Om. So Bhagavan explained to Arjuna how this whole world came into manifestation through his Prakriti. And in his Prakriti, Bhagavan puts the seed and the whole world comes into manifestation. The Prakriti is made up of 3 gunas. So Bhagavan explained that also in detail. What is the nature of the gunas? What are the effects of the gunas? And how one gets bound by the effects of the gunas? And what are the gatis of a person who is bound to these gunas and leaves this body? Thereafter, Bhagavan explained how one can transcend these gunas, or who transcends the gunas. Bhagavan says, Nanyam gunebhya kartaram yada drashtanupashyati gunebhyascha param vetti mad bhavam sodhigachyati. When the drashta, when the seeker comes to understand that all activities are done by the gunas of Prakriti, not by me, and he recognizes himself as beyond his gunas, Bhagavan says he attains me. He transcends the 3 gunas and attains me. Attains me means while living in this body, being what you call jivan eva muktaha, while living itself becomes free of janma, mrityu, jara, dukkha, becomes free of birth, death, old age and all sorrows. And when the prarabdha of this body is over, when the body gets dropped, he gains that videha mukti also. So he attains amrutam ashnute, becomes free, gains moksha. So after listening to this, Arjuna has this question, कि कै लिंगे स्त्रीन गुणान एतान अतीतो भवति प्रभो, हे प्रभो, हे भगवान, कि कै ही लिंगै ही, what are the signs, what are the characteristics of a person who has gone beyond these 3 gunas, gunatita. See, this gunatita also is an enlightened person. Here in Bhagavad Gita, in different chapters, different terms are used for an enlightened person. In the 2nd chapter is called Sthita Prajna. In later chapters he is also called Yogi, Parama Yogi, Uttama Yogi. He is also called a Jnani. And a Bhakta, Parama Bhakta, here is called Gunatita. So what are the signs of a Gunatita person? Kai lingaihi trin gunan etan atito bhavati prabhu. Also, kim acharaha, how does he conduct? Because the Gunatita also continues to express through this body. When one gains knowledge, when one transcends the gunas, gains that enlightenment, one doesn't die. The body continues to exist and the enlightened person continues to function, express through the bodies. So how does that person conduct himself in this world? Because when we live in this world, we have to face different situations. One faces different beings, different types of beings. Also one has to interact with different types of objects at different times, different places. So this continues, this is there for an enlightened person also. So how does he conduct himself in such a situation? And also one more question, kicha etan trin gunan katham ativartate, that how does he transcend these three gunas? Means what is the foolproof sadhana to transcend these three gunas? See, in the 7th chapter also Bhagavan had talked about these three gunas as the gunas of Prakriti, ki Daivi Hesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratyaya, ki my Maya is Daivi, is divine. Devi hi Esha, this Maya, Devi hi Esha Gunamayi, it is made up of these three gunas. Mama Maya, my Maya, Duratyaya, it is very difficult to transcend. Means the effect of Maya is so strong that one is held tightly by this Maya. It's not very easy to transcend. Even when we know, we can't transcend it. The effect of Maya is very strong. So even when we understand, when we gain that knowledge of the whole mechanism of how Maya function, how the gunas function, still it becomes difficult to transcend. It's like a person who is having some disease, is not well, having, let us say, fever. So he may understand the doctor tells him that this is the cause of your fever, this is what has happened. So even when he understands everything, the fever doesn't go down, he doesn't become all right. He has to take the medicine. Similarly, even after understanding how the gunas function, we have to do the sadhana to transcend these gunas. So in the 7th chapter, Bhagavan had already spoken about it. Ki mameva ye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. One who surrenders to me alone will be able to transcend this Maya. Here also Bhagavan will tell about it. So Arjuna's question is that what are the signs of an enlightened person, Gunatita person? How does he conduct himself in this world? And how can one transcend this Maya, transcend these gunas? Katham chaitan trin gunan ativartate. How can one go beyond these three gunas? So now Bhagavan replies, and Bhagavan first tells us the lakshanas of a person who has transcended these gunas. So let us chant verse number 22. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Prakashancha Pravrittincha Mohameva cha Pandava Nadveshti Sampravrittani Na Nivrittani Kamshate. Bhagavan says, Shri Bhagavan Vacha, the Sakshat Bhagavan, Ishvara, that Brahma as Shri Krishna, he is teaching us this wonderful knowledge, giving us this beautiful wisdom. So Shri Bhagavan Vacha, Bhagavan says, कि हे पांडव, हे अर्जुन, understand कि this gunatīta person, प्रकाशंच प्रवृत्तिंच मोहमेव च पांडव न द्वेष्टि संप्रवृत्तानि. This enlightened person, न द्वेष्टि sampravruttani, he doesn't hate when he acquires these gunas, when the gunas manifest, when the different gunas manifest, he doesn't dislike them. Which gunas? What manifestation? He says prakasham. When that prakasha, this is the expression of sattva gun. When through all the senses that light of knowledge happens, means when all the organs of gaining knowledge, not only the senses, the mind, the intellect, are in full alertness to gain knowledge. Whatever knowledge means, whatever is available in front, that knowledge can be gained. Is, for example, when my eyes are very, very healthy and proper, and all the conditions are fulfilled, then whatever is kept in front of me, I gain that knowledge of that color and form of that object. Similarly, when the sattva guna arises, all the faculties, the senses, the mind become extremely capable of gaining that knowledge. So that's called prakasha. Shabda, sparsha, rupa, rasa, gandha, everything is acquired as it is presented in front. Without the disturbance of the tamogun and rajogun, without the disturbance of delusion, confusion, and without the disturbance of the mind through its desires and activities, one gains knowledge. That is prakasha, that is the expression of sattva guna. Then pravritti. Pravritti is the expression of rajogun. It propels the person into activity. It makes the senses, the mind, the intellect, the organs of action perform those activities. It propels a person through creating desire, thirst, anger, jealousy, pride, fear. It propels a person into action, some motivation, some inspiration also. So the person becomes active. It activates the whole system. See, knowledge is just knowing, but Rajogun is doing also. Is doing. And Tamogun is not understanding and not doing. So Tamogun expresses as moha, delusion, confusion, not knowing, dullness, and there is no pravritti also, there is no motivation, there is no inspiration to act. So total moha, So when such expressions happen in an enlightened person, now here we have to understand that even for an enlightened person, all these three gunas, they function. Because these gunas are expressing as his body, as the mind, as the senses, as the intellect. So by gaining knowledge, the gunas will not disappear. So enlightened person's body, mind, intellect also will function according to the gunas. So according to the prarabdha of the enlightened person's body, the samskars which are there, the different gunas will manifest. Therefore we find if you read the Puranas, and also if you read about the great enlightened masters who were born, we find that all of them, they expressed different behavior also. Some of them were very, very active, going all over the world. Even in recent times, we have our own Pujya Gurudev. He went all over the world sharing this great wisdom with the whole world. Not only he traveled extensively in our own country, but he went abroad also, and very, very active. So because of his that active nature, he could establish this great organization also. But his own master, Swami Taponji Maharaj, he remained at one place only. He remained in the Himalayas. He didn't go out in search of students. He didn't go out to do any prachar work or missionary work. No. He just remained in his own place. But whoever came to him with that sincere thirst to know, he taught them. But did not go out in search and motivate people to learn. So, the expression of all these great enlightened masters are different because the cause of that body which has given rise to that body of that master are different, means the samskars are different. So they express differently. But when a person gains that enlightenment, then what happens? How does he deal with this expression of these three gunas? Bhagavan says it doesn't bother him at all. When these gunas manifest, he doesn't dislike them. Oh, I don't like it, now this sattva gun has come and then it will make me attached to the knowledge and jnana, happiness, sukha. Or this rajogun has manifested in me, it will propel me into action. Or this tamogun has come, now it will engulf all the knowledge and make me dull. This thought is not there because there is no identification. There is no I will become deluded or I will become happy with the sattva gun or I will start performing action with rajogun. No. There is no sense of I in the gunas for an enlightened person. Sattva gun is arising. Very good. Ki farak penda. Sanoki. Rajogun is arising, very nice. Let it come. It has gone. Tamogun has come, very good. What does it matter? His understanding that I am beyond these gunas, I am that Brahma, is very firm. And that is direct realization. It is not a theoretical knowledge that he has gained. It is his direct experience, aparoksha anubhuti. And his aparoksha anubhuti expresses through his body, mind, intellect also. So there is behavioral changes also happen due to this enlightenment. Because that ahankar gets dissolved, false understanding, that is adhyasa, goes away. So only the prakriti functions, guna guneshu vartante. As per the gunas, the prakriti just functions. So he observes all this without getting affected by these various manifestations. See, Jagrat Avastha, whatever we experience, it is our experience through the mind, through the intellect, through the senses. Swapna Avastha is also our experience through the mind. In Sushupta Avastha, we transcend the mind. But potentially, the ignorance is there, so when we wake up, again we are ignorant only. But an enlightened person has gained that abidance in his own self, direct realization. So that realization he has gained, transcending all the gunas, all the prakriti, transcending the mind, intellect. So even when in the waking dream, etc., when he expresses that enlightenment, because of that enlightenment, the mind, intellect also express in a different way. See, for example, when you are dreaming, you leave the gross body behind and you dream whatever the samskars are there in the mind, they are presented in our dream. So sometimes there is this very frightening dream, a nightmare, a very, very scary dream. But only your body, your mind is involved in that dream. Body is lying comfortably on the bed. So you are having a scary dream and suddenly you wake up. When you wake up, you will find at times the effect of the dream on the body also. Still your heart, you might have a fast heartbeat and all. So though that experience of the dream, your gross body was not involved, but when you wake up, the experience of the dream gets expressed little bit at the level of your body also. Similarly, in that enlightenment, the mind is not involved, the intellect is not involved. Everything gets transcended. So it is not enlightenment is not an experience of the mind, not an experience of the intellect. But when the intellect and mind and all starts expressing of an enlightened person, is that enlightenment, because of that enlightenment, there's a different expression in this mind, in his intellect also. So it's a very, very interesting. For example, the rope is seen as a snake. So you see a snake, in the sense there is a rope, but you mistake it for snake. So what happens? It creates fear in your heart. If you are afraid of that snake, it will create that fear. But when you come to understand that, it is not a real snake, it is just a rope which was appearing like a snake, then what happens? The fear goes away. So even when you continue to see that snake, the rope as a snake, there is no fear in your heart. So your understanding of that rope dispelled that fear completely. Similarly, the state of enlightenment dispels all adhyasa completely. False knowledge disappears. Adhyasa goes away. But Prakriti remains, because Prakriti is not Adhyas. Kshetrajna remains, because Kshetrajna is not Adhyas. The Kshetrajna is mistaken for some property of the Kshetra, and Kshetra is mistaken to be having some property of Kshetrajna, that is Adhyas. That Adhyas goes away. Okay? So here an enlightened person doesn't get agitated or doesn't dislike the expressions of Sattva gun, Rajogun, nor of Tamogun also. So Prakashancha Pravrittincha Mohamevacha Pandava Nadveshti Sampravrittani. When they come, when they manifest, he doesn't dislike them. And na nivrittani kankshati. And when they go away, he doesn't desire, let it come again. When the sattva gun goes away, he doesn't desire that, let the sattva gun come again. It was so nice. Or if the rajogun goes, let it come again. No. An ignorant person desires these gunas. And in our sadhana, in the beginning we want this sattva gun to be there, so that we can do our sadhana. We also want the rajogun to be there, so that we can express our actions properly. We want the tamogun also, so that we can take proper rest. But an enlightened person he doesn't desire the gunas to come back in different ways, nor does he hate them when they are there. He just remains indifferent towards the manifestation of these gunas because he actually has this direct experience that I am different from these gunas, so I have nothing to do with these gunas. Therefore, definitely he will not have any proactive action towards these gunas. He will not do anything. So, na dveshti sampravruttani na nivruttani kamsati. Rajogun comes, tamogun comes, sattvagun comes, they come, they remain, they go away. He remains indifferent towards them. If they are there, he doesn't dislike them. If they go away, he doesn't desire them to come back. See, all these three gunas are always there, but in different proportions. So he doesn't desire that, oh, sattva gun should become predominant or something like that. This is the sign of an enlightened person. Now, very interesting thing, Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji writes in his commentary that these signs one has to see in ourselves. These are signs not to be seen in others in the sense because it cannot be seen in others. He says ki etat cha parapratyaksham etad na parapratyaksham lingam किम तर्हि स्वात्म प्रत्यक्षत्वात् आत्म विषयम एव एतद लक्षणम. They are not something which we can see in others. See, we can see the outer behavior of an enlightened person, but we can't see what he likes or how he is indifferent towards all these gunas cannot be seen. They are Atma Vishayam, they have to be seen in ourselves. So these are not signs to be used to judge others. So nahi swatma vishayam dvesham akansham va paraha pashyati. So this dvesha, that he dislikes these gunas, he doesn't dislike these gunas, or he doesn't desire them to come. This cannot be seen in others. This is one thing. But why these signs are given here? What is the use for a seeker? This also Bhagwan had, Shankaracharya ji had written in his commentary before Bhagwan start describing the Sthita Prajna Lakshana in the second chapter. In that chapter, Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji had written that the qualities like Prajahati Yada Kaman Sarvan Partha Manogatan Atmannevatmana Tushtaha Sthita Prajnas Tadochyate. So iti arabhya adhyaya parisamaapti paryantam sthita prajna lakshanam sadhanancha upadishyate. So these were the qualities of the characteristic of a sthita prajna, but the characteristic of a sthita prajna becomes the sadhana for the seekers. Seekers have to put forth effort to follow this lakshanas. Bhagwan says, Shankaracharya, कि सर्वत्र एव अध्यात्म शास्त्रे कृतार्थ लक्षणानि यानि तानि एव साधनानि उपदिश्यन्ते यत्न साध्यत्वात्. That whatever are the whatever are the lakshanas of a sthita prajna, whatever the lakshanas of an enlightened person, they are the sadhana for the sadhaks to be pursued with effort. We have to put forth effort. And yani yatna sadhyani sadhanani lakshanani cha bhavanti tani. And those sadhanas which are mentioned in our scriptures, which we have to do with our effort, are the natural characteristic of an enlightened person. Again, to give this example of a rope and snake. So, enlightened, a person who knows that it is a rope and not a snake, he will not have fear for that, towards that rope. But a ignorant person who is told that no, this is not a rope and this is not a snake, it is a rope, but still who continues to believe that it is a snake, who continues to have that thought that it is a snake. So he will have that fear. So when he understands that an enlightened person, a person who knows that it is a rope, become fearless, so that ignorant person can also practice fearlessness. But his practice of fearlessness will be with effort. He is not afraid, but he still continues to believe that it is a snake. But he tries to practice fearlessness. So when this person practices fearlessness, there is more possibility for him to understand that it is not a snake, but it is a rope. Okay? But the fearlessness of a person who has understood that it is a rope is different from a fearlessness of a person who believes that it is a snake. He also becomes fearless. He says, I am not afraid. But still he deeply believes that it is a snake. Similarly, this lakshanas of an enlightened person, it arises from his enlightenment. But for an ignorant person, they have to be pursued, these lakshanas should be pursued with effort. But just by having these lakshanas in us, there is no guarantee that it is not the sign that we have gained knowledge, but it will help us to gain that knowledge. They become the sadhan. They will help us to gain that knowledge. So all these things one should be very careful. Imitating an enlightened person is not what is said here, but those lakshanas which are given of this enlightened person by the Shastras can be pursued with effort. They will help us to gain that enlightenment. Okay? Now further, Bhagavan tells us some conduct of this enlightened person, Gunatita. How does he live in this world? How does he behave? How does he interact with in different situations, with different people, with different objects? So his achara is being described in the following verses. So verse number 23. Udasinavadasinah gunairyo na vichalyate guna vartanta itteva yovatishtati nengate. Bhagavan says, this enlightened person, Udasinavat asinaha, he remains as udasin. Udasinavat. Udasinavat means not interested in any of these parties. Means not interested in sattvagun, nor in rajogun, nor in tamogun. Udasin means not having any favoritism toward these gunas. Oh, I like sattvagun, I don't like rajogun, I don't like tamogun, nothing like that. Udasin. ये भी ठीक, वो भी ठीक, वो भी ठीक. Everything is fine. Sattvagun is also good, rajogun is also good, tamogun is also good. न कस्यचित् पक्षं भजते. Udasinavad asinaha. These are the lakshanas of an enlightened person. And these are the sadhana for those who have gained knowledge, not for initial students. Therefore, Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji, he uses the term sannyasi. Yes, sannyasi na vichalyate. So sannyasi, one who has gained this knowledge of the self and wants to gain abidance in that self, they can practice these lakshanas of an enlightened person. But those who are in the very initial stages of their sadhana, in the karma yoga, those who are in the grahastha ashram or brahmacharya ashram and all, some of these sadhanas should not be practiced, and they cannot be practiced also, but should not be practiced. You can't remain just udasin, indifferent. Your wife is telling, oh, बाजार से जाके वो सब्जी लेके आना, की फर्क पैंदा. सब्जी आ जाओ, लेके आओ, ना लेके आओ. I am not bothered. Nothing bothers me. Somebody is sick at home, somebody needs attention. Nothing. So this is not meant for people who are in the initial stages of their spiritual evolution. We have to do our kartavya karma. We can't remain indifferent towards our kartavya. We have to invoke sattvagun to do certain duties. We have to invoke rajogun to do certain duties. We have to invoke tamogun to do certain duties. So we can't imitate an enlightened. A foolish person should not imitate an enlightened person. That will be most dangerous. He will destroy himself. Enlightened person is not imitating anyone. Enlightened person's signs are his natural expression. And a very highly evolved seeker can pursue this, put forth effort to develop this characteristic of an enlightened person. But an initial seeker should not bother it. These are some precautions, warnings, which we have to remember. So udasinavad asinaha, the enlightened person remains udasinavad, indifferent towards the gunas and towards the expression of the gunas. Doesn't bother at all. Others get agitated, others worry. He is not worried. Whatever the expressions are happening in the body, he says, okay, let them happen. Who cares? That is the expression of the Prakriti only. When Taponji Maharaj, was in Uttarkashi. He remained in Uttarkashi in the Himalayas only till the end. So he became unwell. His body became unwell. So Pujya Gurudev requested Swami Taponji Maharaj that you please come to Delhi, and there we can have proper treatment. There are good hospitals and doctors. And proper treatment can be given. So Taponji Maharaj asked him that in Delhi people don't die. People die everywhere. So I don't want to go to Delhi. I don't want to leave these Himalayas. If death has to come, let it come. So enlightened person remains udasin. But a person at the Karma Yoga level should take proper care, should do proper treatment, go to the hospital, take your medicines properly. Don't say that, oh, Taponji Maharaj said like that, so I will also behave like that. No. Udasinavad asinaha gunair yona vichalyate. One who doesn't get disturbed by the gunas. Sattva gun doesn't disturb him. Rajogun doesn't disturb him. Tamogun doesn't disturb him. Gunair yona vichalyate. It's like the rope doesn't scare the person who knows that it is a rope and not a snake. Others who are seeing it as a snake, they are so scared and they wonder how come he is not scared. He is not scared because he is seeing the rope. Similarly, an enlightened person doesn't get disturbed because he is not seeing the gunas, he is seeing Brahma. Sarvam kalvidam Brahma. Everything is expression of Brahma. So the Rajogun is also expression of Brahma, Sattvagun is also expression of Brahma, Tamogun is also expression of Brahma, and the expressions are same. It is not that Brahma is more in Sattvagun and less in Rajogun and still less in Tamogun. No. Brahma is same. Hari Vyapak Sarvatra Samana. Premate Pragata Hoi Mai Jana. Bhagavan is same everywhere. Nirdosham hi samam Brahma. So udasinavad asenaha gunaihi yona vichalyate. Gunon se he doesn't get vichalit, doesn't get disturbed. Doesn't get disturbed. Viveka darshana avasthataha. His understanding, his enlightenment doesn't get shaken up with the things happening to his body or to the world outside or to the mind. His state of enlightenment doesn't get disturbed. उसको वो छू भी नहीं सकता है. His enlightenment, he doesn't get to, oh, so much is happening, what is this? He doesn't get confused. It doesn't create a doubt in his mind about Brahma. So, na vichalyate, sthita pradnya, uski pradnya sthita ho jati hai. Why? Because he understands what? Gunavartante iti eva. Gunavartanta ityeva. That everything is play of gunas only. And they will continue playing. With enlightenment, the gunas doesn't stop playing. They will continue playing. They will continue playing. Because they are playing by their own internal system, by their own internal programming. Like a giant wheel is moving, it continues moving. Suppose you are seated in that wheels, you also will move. If you are out of that, it will continue moving. Like this, like the earth is rotating or revolving, it continues to revolve. Suppose I gain enlightenment, will the earth stop revolving? No, it will continue to revolve. Will the seasons stop coming? No, they will keep coming. Different seasons will keep on coming, even if many people gain enlightenment, because the seasons doesn't depend on your enlightenment. Similarly, the activity of the Prakriti doesn't depend on the enlightenment. Whether you are enlightened or not enlightened, Prakriti continues to function. With enlightenment, adhyas goes away. No change happens in Prakriti or in Kshetrajna. Only adhyas goes away. So guna vartanta itteva yovatishtati. He remains that everything is play of gunas. Tad etas puti karoti guna karya karana vishaya akara parinata anyonyasmin vartante. The gunas which are expressing as karya, as this body, karana as the senses as well as the antakarana, and Vishaya as this world, they are just interacting, playing with each other. They are just playing with each other. It's like many people, they switch on their television and they keep watching the program. In the evening or at night they are watching a movie. And then they are so sleepy, they fall asleep. So what happens when they are asleep? Does the TV stop playing the show? No. The movie will go on. Even when nobody is watching, the movie goes on. Because it is expressing through its internal program only. If the electricity is there, if the connection is there, if all these things are there, then the program will go on, whether you are watching or you are not watching. Similarly, the program of this Prakriti goes on, whether you are watching or not watching, whether you are involved or not involved, whether you are changing the channel or not changing the channel. A Mahatma is one who just is not changing the channel, is not interested in any program, is whatever comes, whatever goes, is not even watching it. He is established in his own self. An ignorant person is watching the show of this world, identified with it, gets affected, becomes miserable, and that itself is called samsara. Samsara is due to adhyas. Samsara is not due to Prakriti or Purusha. Samsara is due to adhyas. And adhyas is due to avidya. So when that avidya gets eliminated, adhyas goes away and one gains that enlightenment. Okay? So yo vatishtati na ingate. He doesn't get disturbed, doesn't move away from his enlightenment. Shankaracharya ji writes, na ingate means na chalati swarupa avasthaha eva bhavati ityarthaha. Na chalati, he doesn't waver, means he is established in his self only, he doesn't move away from his self. Ever established in his own self as Brahma. Okay? More about this we will see in our class tomorrow. Till then, you take care, be happy, safe, peaceful, healthy. do your work, do your sadhana, understand all these things properly. Bhagavad Gita is such a wonderful text. It guides us wonderfully at all levels, very, very systematically. It's a complete guide. If you understand the Gita, then there is no need to study anything else also. Okay? So we will meet again tomorrow. Hari Om. Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram. 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 Jaya Jaya Ram. Jaya Jaya Ram. Bole Siyavar Ramachandra Bhagwan ki Jai. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.